Hi, my name is Sabika Razavi. I am a Time to Change champion for Time to Change. A champion is someone who is an expert by experience. That means we have lived mental health difficulties. Diverse ethnic communities are people from different ethnic backgrounds who have different cultures, different traditions, different religions. So I am a second generation migrant. So my parents moved to the United Kingdom, but as they moved here, they weren't really accepted and they weren't welcomed. So as a result, their natural inclination to be who they are and what their culture is, they kind of shed that and they decided to be more British and more Western. And because they weren't accepted for who they were, they chose not to be that. And when I reflect on it myself and I look at my parents, I see an identity crisis because they don't really know who they are. They don't know whether they're Pakistani, they don't know if they're Iranian, they don't know if they're British, and that has led to mental health problems because now me being the second generation here, I feel like I don't know who I should be. Should I be the Pakistani girl that I should be, or should I be the British person? And now that we're seeing more and more people accepting and embracing who we are, I feel like I can do that now as well. I felt like there was no one there who represented who I was. And I think that's primarily what led to my mental health problems, because I didn't have that person to connect to. For someone to understand who I am and the problems that I'm going through, my instinct is to reach out to someone who knows that. It's been really difficult to discover identity. It took me 30 years to do that. And there's a lot of people out there who are still struggling with that. When somebody moves to this country, they're expected to blend in, basically, and not be who they naturally are. It impacts their whole life. Like, for somebody who's British to not accept them for who they are has a major impact on that person's mental health, because they're basically caging them into being something that they're not. And that's the biggest downfall for mental health, because if you're not embracing who you are and you're not allowed to flourish in the way that you're supposed to flourish, it cages you, and that's really, really suffocating for somebody. And that's what triggers mental health problems. It affects every single part of your life, and it did affect mine. And I was a very inconfident, anxious person that went through severe depression, and it made me feel like I couldn't talk because the way I talked or what I talked about was irrelevant to other people. It made me feel like I wasn't connected. It made me feel very alone. It wasn't just because of me who I am in terms of my background, ethnic background. It was there was childhood trauma that I went through. I witnessed my brother get shot at the age of 7. So I felt like if I told any of my friends, it was back in primary school, if I told any of my friends that I went to Pakistan and I witnessed my brother get shot, they probably wouldn't want to be my friend anymore. So it was that connection of not having other Asian friends. And I held that anxiety within me for years and years and years. And I still didn't see any connection with anyone else, and not being accepted, it made me feel like I didn't want to talk to anyone, and I couldn't talk to anyone. And then I went through postnatal depression after I had my kids. And I still felt like I couldn't connect with anyone, and there wasn't anyone to reach out with. It just made me feel really lonely. And all of that affected every single part of my life. I just felt like I wasn't worthy of being human. I lost my humanness in a world of humans because I didn't have that connection. Usually, typically in the South Asian household, it's the woman or the mother that kind of holds everything together. She's the foundation. That foundation outwardly needs to be strong, and I think that's all people really care about, just being strong, getting on with it, carrying on. Doesn't matter what you're going through, you just have to be strong and get on with it. I'm not saying it's just the women. Pakistani or South Asian guys aren't supposed to have any mental health problems anyway, so that's a completely different topic. But women themselves are supposed to be mentally strong. When I've reached out to help to my mum or to anyone else who I knew of who were close to me, whenever I said, I think there's something wrong with me, or I think I need some help, I felt like I was shut down, because the immediate thing is that doesn't happen to us. You know, we don't go through mental health problems. We don't get depressed. We don't get anxiety. That's not us. And anytime I did want to reach out for help, that was the case. So I just kind of thought, I brushed it off and just thought there's nothing wrong with me. And I did that for years. On 15th of November 2019, when that was my breaking point. I had suicidal thoughts. And, you know, it got to the extent where if I was driving with my kids, I'd see a bridge, would drive under a bridge, and I would think to myself, is it easier for me to jump off a bridge or is it easier to take tablets? And it became very, very constant. And it's because I didn't reach out for help. I didn't want to say these kind of things to my family or to my close friends, because there is that taboo against suicide. There is that stigma of even having those thoughts. You're not even going through the action, it's just having those thoughts. It's only when I reached out for help to a coach who was an impartial person. He was of the same ethnic background as me, but he was somebody who wasn't personally related to me. And I felt like when I talked to him, he would be able to understand my journey and my history and the migration and understand the cultural clash and everything. And that's why I reached out to him. That has been the biggest turning point for me. It's basically made me who I am today. And I was able to bring out a lot of things, a lot of trauma. I didn't even realize that my brother getting shot affected me, and it did. So I'm now being able to heal my inner child. I've now been able to accept who I am and flourish in it. It's come to a point where I don't have those thoughts anymore, and I feel that I'm worthy of living and I'm worthy of being who I am. It's given me the confidence to bring my journey, bring my story, vocalize it, and give that help to others and encourage them to reach out and ask for help, because that help is out there and they're not alone. I felt alone for years. You're not alone. The most important advice to give to anybody who's having suicidal thoughts is reach out to help. Reach out and say, I need help. Reach out to somebody on a call center, because that's anonymous, and just tell them the thoughts and the issues and the problems that you're having. And then if you want somebody who's from the same culture as you to help you, then just say it, because when you ask, you get. And until you reach out and ask for help, you don't get anything, and you suffer in silence. If you're looking for help, we at Birmingham Mind have a 24-hour helpline. The helpline has web chat and language line to help support all diverse ethnic communities.